Since LEGO Star Wars began in 1999, there have been 6 Luke's Landspeeder sets, and even more smaller versions like Microfighters and LEGO event exclusive sets. So in total there's been at least 10 LEGO Star Wars Luke's Landspeeder models, the first one coming out in 1999 and the newest one being the UCS Luke's Landspeeder. So today I'm going to be taking a look at how the 2020 version and the 2010 version have both had a big impact on the new set that came out just this year. But before we start, just some basic information on all 3 of these sets. The 2010 Luke's Landspeeder was given set number 8092, released January 4th in 2010, came with 163 pieces, 6 minifigs, and retailed for $25. Now, today it's worth about $45, so if you're going to get it, you might want to be looking on eBay or Bricklink. Next up, we have the 2020 Luke's Landspeeder, given set number 75271, came out in 2020, came with 3 minifigures and retailed for $30. Since it retired quite recently, actually, the price hasn't gone up very much. You can still probably get it for around the same price. And lastly, you've got the 2022 75341 UCS Luke's Landspeeder, which costs $200 and comes with 2 minifigures, and it has not retired yet, so you can get it for its retail price on lego.com as of now. First up here we have Farm Boy Luke from the 2010 Luke's Landspeeder. I think this one definitely has the best minifigs. Not because they're the best looking, but it comes with the most and some of the coolest in my opinion. Next up we've got Old Ben. I just want to clarify that this face print is the newer one. I couldn't find the older one, so this is a little bit inaccurate. The older one is definitely a lot less detailed, as you can see, but it's a great minifigure. No back printing, but the Jedi robes are simple yet effective for this minifigure, and you can easily tell who it is. Looks pretty good. A classic minifigure from the 2010s, we've got the older R2-D2, not the oldest, but one of the older versions, which looks alright. I actually prefer the oldest version to this, maybe just because it's more nostalgic for me, but this is a fine-looking minifigure for the time. And of course you can't have R2-D2 without his sidekick C-3PO. I would also like to mention that this is a newer version of C-3PO. Again, the old version is lost somewhere in my collection, and I couldn't find it at the moment. So we're going to be making do with this one today. Now the last 2 minifigures here are the most exciting ones for me just because they're unique and different. First up we have this Imperial droid. It's literally like, I don't know, 6 pieces, but it's really cool and it's just a nice addition to the set, and it also pairs very nicely with this Sand Trooper minifigure that is included with the 2010 Luke's Landspeeder. It has the nice pauldron with the little backpack, and it's a really nice looking figure. I wish I had more of these. It's not a very detailed look for a Sand Trooper. There's a lot of better versions in future years. Moving on to the 2020 Luke's Landspeeder, our first minifigure is a Jawa, which comes with a little side build we'll be looking at momentarily. This is a minifigure that we've seen a lot of in past few years because, my goodness, LEGO Star Wars makes so many Tatooine sets. Of course, Luke's Landspeeder must have either R2-D2 or C-3PO, and the 2020 Luke's Landspeeder decided to go with just C-3PO. It's a great cheap way to get a very iconic Star Wars character that most people want and love, so it's a great minifigure, great inclusion, and it looks pretty good. Lastly here we have a very interesting Luke. It's still Farm Boy Luke, new hair, different from the 2010 version, and a lot more detail, of course, just because, you know, that's a 10-year difference. But obviously, the first thing you probably noticed was the poncho, and this is the first time LEGO has done that for a Luke. And of course this minifigure does have the second face, happy face versus stern face, and underneath the poncho you'll find a more updated Farm Boy Luke torso, but it's very simple still, which I think fits the character very well. Moving into the UCS minifigures, we only have 2 of them. This Luke looks exactly like the 2020 Luke because there's not much we can change at this point. It looks really good. Comes with the lightsaber and the binoculars, and overall just a really nice minifigure. Again, you've got the double faces. I'm pretty sure they're exactly the same. Yeah, so pretty standard minifigure here. And then the cool exclusive minifigure from the set is C-3PO that not only comes with arm printing on both sides, but this cool dual molded leg which has the gold and silver look to it, which is very cool. And actually the second exclusive C-3PO this year A different version came in the Star Wars Trash Compactor display set, and they're both very cool versions. I really like this one though. The arm printing really does it for me, and the two colors on one leg just looks really cool. Since the very beginning, Luke's Landspeeders have been one of the biggest memes of LEGO Star Wars, besides the fact that they won't ever make Clone Wars sets or prequel UCS sets. But that's besides the point, and I am not getting into that right now. We have the 2010 version, the 2020 version, and now the 2022 UCS version. Everyone thought they were going to make a UCS one at some point, we're all going to laugh, and we all did laugh. And now that we're done laughing, we can appreciate how good of a model this is. Now, the reason that I have these three sets out today is I believe these two smaller sets have the biggest influence on this UCS set. Obviously, the 2020 version is the most similar to the 2022 version. As you can see, they are basically the bigger and smaller size of each other, and they do look really nice. One of the biggest upgrades from the Playscale model to the UCS version is this windshield piece, and even though there's 10 years apart from these two models, they both use the same windshield piece. This is the first time they've used a windshield piece that actually covers more than just the front or the start of the side here. It actually goes most of the way, all the way to the seats, actually. While we're talking about the seats, the 2020 version has the most accurate seats for a Playscale model, while the 2010 version just uses the classic LEGO molded seats. The UCS version has some great big seats, and of course this isn't minifigure scale, so minifigs can't sit in the set, but that is okay, that's not what it's for. All three sets do a nice job adding this front bit, which the UCS version actually uses the same scale for. And they all have some kind of curvature at the front, except the 2010 version doesn't really have any curves because pieces like that didn't really exist at the time. The 2020 is the only Luke's Landspeeder, at least out of these three, that has the rifle holder, which is really cool. This one, it was too old, didn't include that, and this one it would look weird because it's so big. Now, when we start talking about how the 2010 version had influence on this, I'm going to first start with these back parts here. So these two are very similar. Of course, all three are different, but these two are very similar. The 2020 Luke's Landspeeder made these two very similar, while this one was very different. The 2010 Landspeeder made these two very similar, and this one very different. I feel like that compares more to this one here, where these two are similar, and this one is very different. And then the other thing I think that the 2010 version and the UCS version have in common is the 2020 version is the first version to not use these pipe pieces. Instead, they used a sticker. Now, the 2010 version uses two pipe pieces, however, I could only find one. And this one uses, I believe, five of the pipe pieces because it's so much bigger and it looks really, really good. And it has a clear, like, break in the middle, which the 2010 version also has. Now, the 2020 version obviously has the correct coloring, which matches the UCS version. But the 2010 version just has the old classic LEGO Star Wars look that I'm sure most of us love so much. I certainly love it. It looks great. Now, of course, this is a better version if you're looking for something to display on a smaller shelf like this. Actually, keep the UCS one up here. So it really depends on how much shelf space you have. It's a lot cheaper. There's a $170 difference between the two. It's hard to compare two things that are obviously built for different people. This one is built for minifigures. It's built for play. This one is built to sit on a shelf. They're not really comparable, but I just wanted to talk about the influence that both of these have on the bigger model. And if we turn them around, the last thing we can talk about is the back. The 2021 does such a better job with angles and curves that match the UCS one, while the 2010 one is a lot less curvy, except they all use the grill pieces on the back, and the 2022 one uses not grill pieces, but the similar kind of gray back part, which actually looks similar to the 2010 version more than the 2021, which is interesting. Anyway, that's gonna about do it for today's video. I just wanted to quickly compare how these two smaller versions can both create ideas for this beautiful 2022 UCS Luke's Landspeeder. Let me know in the comment section down below when you think the next Luke's Landspeeder is coming out. I think give it 2 years, and we'll be seeing the 2024 Playscale Luke's Landspeeder. It's going to happen. There's going to be more. They're never going to stop making them, and the memes will continue. So it's a pretty good cycle we've got going. Anyway, that's going to do it for today. So make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.